Guess who? Hello guys, it's me, Woody Woodpecker. Unfortunately, Tom the Tank choked on a cracker and is now in a coma. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, I am the creator of Tom and Engines of 8, but I will get to that later. For now, I'm here to answer you crayon-eating babies burning questions. Let's get started. Picking a random comment, Zakoku says, who is your favorite engine? Probably the one in my amazing tune, How to Stuff a Woodpecker from 1960. John the Tank Engine number 1 says, 1. What type of engine is Jerry? 2. If the steam engines and diesels fight and until they killed each other in the race war, Jerry is a type of steam engine. As for the second question, I don't really know how to answer that. The little old iron station asks, which order of the engines are there? Well, it goes something like Tom, Eddie, Harrison, Gregory, Osterloco, Cool Antonio, and Astra Train. Slay All Day asks, 1. Does Gregory like or hate a 1 South since he is a Raven a 2? 2. When Rob says that's my boy. In the episode where Tom goes to the mainland, is Rob like a father figure or joking? 3. Do you think EO8 could fit into the Thomas universe? Thank you? Well, I don't know what Aeons are, so I'm not sure about that. Rob is a father figure to Tom. This is evident in episode 5, where he blows his face off with a gun. As for question 3, no, because Thomas the Train is a woke show for little dumb babies and grown-ass man children who still think that a corporation cares about their feelings and requests. If I wanted to watch a cool baby show, I'd watch peak masterpieces like Baby Felix, Bluey, and the best one of all, Sonic Prime. Now that's some peak baby show. Seriously, that show had so many mature adult themes to it.
So is quiet in here. Hello? 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 Hello?
Moving on to the next question. Gregory the Gressley A3 fan asks, 1. Is Gregory enemies with the A1 South as well as Sliver Devil? 2. Does Rob care about Tom cause he says that's my boy? 3. Which shade of blue is better? Tom's blue, Eddie's blue, Gregory, blue, Rob's blue, or Yandel's blue? For questions 1 and 2, same answers as the one I gave for the previous person. As for the third question, my blue solos all of them, I'm afraid. Angel Acevedo Sketch Iworks asks, 1. How many engines have appeared in the show Engines of 8? 2. Seen multiple episodes, has this show been using mixed media? Like in some shots, we have the train models while some look like cutout animation that reminds me of the work of Terry Gilliam. 3. Have you ever heard of someone named Wilbert Audrey? If I had to take a guess, it'd say there are 1043131314355 for 7946 for 7957 for engines in total. As for your second question, are you insinuating that my show is fake? Because it is very real. And finally, no, but I do know a guy named Walter Lance. You should go check him out, he makes awesome tunes. Henry the King Productions asks, 1. What's your and Tom's favorite TV showy movie? 2. What made you dig for EO material? 3. How old are you and the props in the series? I don't know about Tom, but my favorite movie is Woody Woodpecker Goes to Camp. As for what made me dig for EO8 material, I got a lost media digger that digs out lost media. Maybe El Supersonic Q should get one. Maybe he'd find the me and my friend's pilot.
I want to say, and there's still inaccurate information. I just looked at it right now. There is still wrong information. After they fixed the whole article, they reverted all the edits back to, what they should be. 2 videos came out from our group. They still have the guy's name wrong in the article. That is so intentional. It is so intentional.
As for how old I am and the props, I'm about 83 years old, but as for the props, I don't really know and I don't give a fuck. Next question. Alex the Funny Man asks, 1. What inspired you to find all the episodes of Engines of 8? 2. What character do you want to see get a replica model? 3. Which episode was the most hardest to find? Okay, off topic, but do you guys ever check your comments for spelling errors before you submit? Seriously, you're giving me too much to work with. But to answer your questions, well, I just wanted some fond memories back. The character I'd like to see get a replica model is my friend Andy Panda. And if Andy Panda is watching this, I'm sorry for choking you to death last week. I promise I won't do it again. Please unblock me from Facebook, thanks. And the most hardest episode to find is all of them because this show is
Been in the Lost Media community.
Memberboy for 2-0 asks, 1. Why was the EO Toby's name changed from Toby to Clara? 2. Why did Tom's VA sound younger in Tom, and again the bad case of purple blobs, but sounds older in the rest of the episodes? 3. Did David and his cronies appear again after Tom's train trouble? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Clara was always named Clara. For Tom's voice change, the actor was going through puberty or something. As for David and his goons, or my DK, Spongeton asks, tunes better. I absolutely agree that my tunes are better. Fan of Star Tugs 44 asks, 1. What did Wilbert Audrey think of the show? 2. What happened to Paul's prop? 3. What was the Yandel incident? Here's the crazy thing. Wilbert Audrey has never seen Engines of 8. This is because he is dead. Paul's prop was burned in the Dockyard Films fire, which I have no relation to, and I don't know anything about the Yandel incident. And temporarily asks, what's your opinion, the EO80C Amy? Well, I looked her up, and she's basically an Emily Ripoff. Also, her picture looks like Cartoon Mania, so that's 2 thumbs down for me. Mr. Toaster and Clay asks, 1. How did this whole Engines of 8 thing started? 2. Favorite character in Season 3 of EO8? 3. What would happen if EO was brought back? Well, the Engines of 8 hole started when I bought a shovel and started digging a giant hole. My favorite character from Season 3 is probably Mark Jovi. She's so cool. If EO was brought back, it would be cancelled immediately because my tune's solo EO8 any day. My Yo asks, Hot and Bothered is coming soon. When is it coming out? Just tell me. I watched your tunes. Well, Mayonnaise, I've made it very clear not to beg for episodes in the rules. Honestly, I'm not sure why I included your comment. You're a pretty weird-ass kid that's likely not old enough to even be on— Okay, stop right there. I need to say something. Now, I was going to do a funny rant on this kid for constantly begging for episodes in community posts, getting his grandma or guardian involved with this to defend him, and overall just being annoying. But part of me says to be the mature woodpecker here, and instead vent out my frustrations in the most polite way I can. Also, this should go without saying, but please do not harass this kid or his grandma in any way. Now, my yo, I regret to inform you that Hot and Bothered, an episode that you really seem to want, will not be found nor released because it is permanently erased, which I will elaborate on later in this video. But begging for an episode you want is not the way to get it. And just for the record, do not ship Tabitha with Tom. If it wasn't obvious from Family Visit, they are brother and sister. And if you don't know what I am talking about, you might want to have a talk with your guardians about that. Speaking of which, END, or Mayo's grandmother, or whoever is running this account. If you don't want your kid to be bullied on the internet, then you probably shouldn't let them on it in the first place, or at the very least regulate their screen time more, because bullying is pretty much one of the many things people on the internet do. But considering you seem to have zero problems with Mayo being friends with some 20-year-old man that filmed himself dancing in a diaper for his audience of children to watch and calling a 13-year-old's voice sexy, you'll probably ramble on again in the comments about me being mean. Again, sorry about breaking tone here. I normally wouldn't care about this kid, but bringing his grandma in on this and supporting his immature behavior is something else. And one last thing, Mayo, I do not hate you. Do not take this the wrong way, just please learn to be more respectful and continue to enjoy Engines of 8 all you want. But for the love of God, stay the fuck away from the South Park fandom. After all, that's what our Lord and Savior, Shigeru Miyamoto, said, so you just have to obey his word. Okay, back to the video. Jonathan Perez asks, 1. Why are you making us watch your tools when we want to see Engines of 8? 2. How did you get suspended from your old Twitter account? 3. How many more episodes are left in the future? Well, Jonathan, I don't recall a single instance where I forced you and other crayon-eating babies to watch my tools. I don't own any tools. And don't worry, my Twitter account is still up and running. As for the final question, known because the show ended in 1998, Animation Absurdity 2 asks, what if Thomas and his friends met the Engines of 8 characters? Then the Engines of 8 characters would solo Thomas and his friends because, like I said, Thomas is woke crap for man babies. I'll stick with Bluey, thanks. That show knows how to handle themes of depression, references to my childhood, and meta humor, which is my favorite humor in the world. This K, R, and MS are Guy asks, 1. Why was Tom's voice changed? 2. Were there any plushies of the characters? Point 3. Will the show ever get a reboot? As I said before, puberty. To my knowledge, there was a plushie of Yandel, but it got recalled too to being heavily infected with lice. And no, the show will never be rebooted. I don't think anyone owns the show anymore, actually. Crew Fox asks, 1. What is Tom's favorite kind of coal? 2. Where did the big engines get their railway cannon from? 3. If you have a Discord server, what's the link? Tom just loves coal flakes, especially with sugar. Rob got his railgun from the military during World War II as a gift for serving. As for the server link, it is the version from the 1989 TV series. Cat Train 400 for asks, what is your favorite number? My favorite number is 195, which is the exact number of theatrical tunes I've been in. Rom Earl Vids asks, 1. Will any of the surviving race war engines ever appear in an episode again? Herm, IDK, Jeff Feedy Serchis asks, who's the swaggest? Radical, Red Ted, or Eddie the Old? Yandel out swags them both, I'm afraid. Aztec11 asks, were the EO8 character models store-bought? Some of them yes, but I won't say which ones. Nicktoons Logo Abant as 2913 asks 1. Why are we called crayon-eating babies? 2. Why was Tom Train Trouble so hyped up when it was found? 3. Did Audrey like the EO8 cartoons? Well, let me just say you have an unnecessary long-ass username. Well, the reason I call you guys crayon-eating babies is because you guys cry and eat crayons all day. The reason why Tom's Train Trouble was so hyped up is because people really like Tom the Tank for some reason. And third question, like I said before, Audrey has never seen the EO8 cartoons. This is because he is dead, or IP. Jack asks, 1. 2. How many tunes have you watched? 3. Hi, first of all, please keep it down. Second of all, too many to count. And third, well, hello to you, Jack. Zombie_milk asks, 1. How were the models made? O-gauge kits, repainted models. 2. Is there any footage of any Crown Myrera stuff? 3. What's up with the Woody the Woodpecker stuff? The models are pretty old. There is, but some of it's deleted, though I plan to upload them in an archive of some sort. As for your final question, that's Woody Woodpecker to you, not Woody the Woodpecker. North Coast Entertainment asks, 1. Who is your favorite Thomas character? 2. Do you like Red Ted? 3. What do you think about Scotland? I don't have a favorite. The closest to that is the Ballast Spreader, an underrated character. As for your second question, not really, but he is a good dad though. Also, Scotland is pretty cool. My dad's from Scotland, and we always have an annual father-son golf tournament. Heckatwiffer Production asks, what happened to Lizzie and Doll in Tom's Train Trouble? I think Monica Collinson is better suited for that question. Damir and Shalua asks, will you upload a polished dub of Engines of 8? Unlikely, since that's hard to come across. The Great Railroad Studios asks 1. Why did you change the style of the EO8 ARG from a low-budget style shown in the 1973 ver of Racing Rob to a high-budget style shown in the Tom episode? 2. Was Carry the Car made before Engines of 8? Because Carry the Car has a cheaper style than Engines of 8, so was Carry the Car made before Engines of 8? 3. What was the song that played in the episode titled High Point Hills, and it played in the scene where Gregory thanked Eddie? No offense, dude, but you really gotta learn how to shorten your sentences, holy shit, that didn't need to be that long. As for your first question, I'm not sure what an ARG is, we just got more money. Question 2, how the fuck should I know? And question 3, I am not telling, because we follow the same protocols as Mark's Props, where we gatekeep certain content of a children's show. Tidmouth Milk asks, 1. Who was the first engine to arrive at 8 Maples? 2. What is your favorite EO8 episode? 3. What are you thought on In Dreams being the final episode? The first engine to arrive in 8 Maples was Sir Jean Jacques V. It is unknown where he is now. My favorite EO8 episode is the one where Starscream comes and destroys everyone, speaking of which you should totally buy some Starscream merch at my Universal theme parks. As for In Dreams, I'm not sure since I'm still trying to get it out of my toilet. Alex the Picton Kanjai asks, 1. When will the Engines of 8 movie come out? 2. Did you see the wooden railway Tom post I made you wear in the post? 3. Why are you a sappy swab? Well, I'm not sure what made you think there's an Engines of 8 movie being made and releasing when it was canceled for saying slurs on Twitter. Thank you. As for your second question, no, I haven't until now. Good job. And for your third question, I'm a woodpecker, not a sappy swab. Now, I have a question for you. Why is your it called Engines of 8, yet your banner is only 3 engines? Someone's friends and family are going to see that and be heavily misleaded. Is this the kind of example you want to put out, Alex? Think about that, you sappy swab. Purple Donuts asks, 1. How many known pieces of merch is known about the show? 2. How many episodes are there? 3. Is there a RWS counterpart of Tom's Train Trouble? The amount of merch of the show is not known and a majority of it is very rare. As for how many episodes, it'd say about 78. There could be a RWS counterpart, but I won't look it up because I'm feeling lazy. Elmira's paranormal account asks, how much do you hate Yandel? I hate him as much as I hate Charlie Chicken. SFW_GUI greater than asks, where did you get the idea of engines and 8? And what did you think of the finished first episode? I got the idea when it first started out as a comic strip. I thought to myself of ideas, and the first thing that came to my mind was Train Yout. When I saw the first finished episode for the first time, I thought it was shit, and so was the producer, Jonathan Dockyard. Glad that fucker is dead. Bulto Best Maniac asks, what merch was made? How many characters or sets used pre-war tin plate trains? Who is Dave? Honestly, I don't really know the answer to all your questions, but I can tell you that you can purchase my classic cartoon collection on Amazon. Berserker asks, not sure if anyone already asked these questions, but 1. Is Engines of 8 part of your amazing tunes? 2. If there was a season 6 of Engines of 8, what do you think it would be like? 3. Why do Tom and Jerry hate each other? No, Engines of 8 is not part of my amazing tunes, but I like tricking Ukraine eating babies into thinking it does. If there was a season 6, it would suck pretty hard. As for Tom and Jerry, I think they have personal issues they need to sort out. Danu Reddish Banana _EGGS asks, why do you change your profile pics so often? That's all. Happy New Year, because I can. See, I'm changing it right now as we speak. Can of Beans YouTuber asks, 1. What was the name being censored in the end credits of Tom's Train Trouble? 2. What would the spin-off Tom and Jerry could have looked like? 3. What would Engines of 8 the movie could have been look like? And what would be the plot of the film? Well, I wouldn't know the censored name because it's censored. As for the spin-off, it would have centered around Tom and Jerry. And as for the movie, again, I don't know. It was canceled. The Bright Dude asks, 1. What would you consider the holy grail of Engines of 8 media? 2. How many countries are confirmed to have aired the show? 3. Does Yandel know about the bird? I'd say the holy grail of EO8 media would have to be back of the Shed Doors book, which contains a bunch of crude drawings from the crew. This is definitely the holy grail of lost media. Yes, sir, not any historical lost films or literature. This is the lost media the world needed to see, besides the Paw Patrol pilot. As for the countries to have aired the show, it'd say about 10 or 12. And for your third question, yes, Yandel is aware of the bird. After all, the bird is the word recently. Ivo Robotnik asks, Snoo Pingas usual I see. You bet your ass, Dr. Robotnik. Idelsa Gill asks, what's your favorite show? What's your favorite color? What's your favorite cartoon character? Gotta say, this is the most normal bunch of questions I've been asked tonight. But anyway, my favorite show is the Woody Woodpecker Show. My favorite color is red. And my favorite cartoon character is Chili Willy, who has sadly passed away. God rest your soul, King. YoshiFan191 asks, 1. What is your favorite tune? 2. Do the engines have their favorite foods? 3. How's your day been? My favorite tunes are my tunes. The engines do not have any favorite foods because they don't eat. My day has been pretty good. Gordon the Little Master Real asks, what will happen if you make Gregory anger? Then he'd get angered. And finally and temporarily again asks, where's the video? You're watching it right now, dumbass? Well, I think that's all the questions there is. You all have been a bunch of crayon eating babies and... Wait a minute, I almost forgot. If you remember from the beginning of this video, I said I'd elaborate on me being the creator of Engines of 8. Well, it's about time I reveal my identity for reals. You see, I am not Woody Woodpecker. I'm actually...
Eddie Jones, Eddie Jones, Eddie Jones, Eddie Jones, Eddie Jones.
Megatron dancing. Are you enjoying this day?
And you think, yeah, well, why would that be? I mean, they're the backyard against wiki gods. They should have the best information on their site. But no, they don't, and that feeds into that idea that they are holding information. And I want to say, and there's still inaccurate information. I just looked at it right now. There is still wrong information. After they fixed the whole article, they reverted all the edits back to, what they should be. 2 videos came out from our group. They still have the guy's name wrong in the article. That is so intentional. It is so intentional.
Hey guys, it's Jetchubetcha. I created Engines of 8 in case you somehow didn't know. This part won't be very well edited and I'm using a text-to-speech voice because my throat's feeling weird. Now that's out of the way, let's get right to the special announcement. That is, Engines of 8 will be ending soon. This isn't really surprising news since I announced this in a tweet back in January 2024 which I later deleted because, well, I'm still doing this. The only reason why this Q&A took as long as it did was because I didn't know how to properly write this part and I also left out some questions because some were more concerned for the future of the series itself while others were just more of the same. So I broke it down to 8 questions which should hopefully provide you with some answers. Let's make this quick. This video's already long as is. FAQ number 1. How did you think of Engines of 8? Engines of 8 came to me around October 2022. I had an idea for a Thomas AU that I did for fun. Few days later, I would make an edit from the Thomas episode The Sad Story of Henry out of boredom. I received this comment, and the rest is history. FAQ number 2. Do you have a favorite Engines of 8 content that was fan-made? I don't have a precise favorite, and I don't usually see fan content unless it's in my recommended or I'm pinged in it. But the fan content from the Japanese side of the fandom is always fun to see. I think the closest to a favorite fan creation is probably Otis created by Titras22, but any Engines of 8 fan content is fine. FAQ number 3. Why is Woody Woodpecker part of Engines of 8? Well, specifically in the lore he is the actual creator of Engines of 8 who was screwed over by Jonathan Dockyard. He would later get back at the company by killing or sabotaging the studio while wearing a Woody Woodpecker costume. He is also friends with the Burger Man and had something to do with the fire along with Jen Crownmeyer Jr. but I only really added him in Engines of 8 because I unironically do like the character, and it would be funny to make people remember his existence especially when his Netflix movie came out around the same time in 2024. FAQ number 4. Do you have any other series? If so, will the Engines of 8/Dockyard Films characters appear in it? I intend on using some of the characters for other series I make, but not all. Jerry and Lawrence are characters I already created before and were added just for fun. Alberto El Pato comes from a 2000s ad about a Tamagotchi pet duck game from a now-defunct website, and I guess, for lack of a better term, adopted him. You can find these guys either in my mediocre pilot film, or my comic series, which I was developing for years and eventually published in 2 months after I created Engines of 8. Links are in the description if you're curious. FAQ number 5. What do you think about the general reception of Engines of 8 from Thomas fans? I'll admit, that's not something I really think about. From what I have seen though, reception does tend to be mixed. But my goal with Engines of 8 wasn't to get a good reputation from Thomas fans, it was to just fool the really gullible ones, and to this day it still works. Now I'm not interested in Thomas as much as I used to be. I still like to look back on the history, the books, the show, and there's trains too, I guess, nostalgia. You get the idea, but I've got other mature big boy interests as well, of course. Speaking of Thomas the Choo Choo Train, I gotta say the fandom sure is blah 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 fandom drama blah blah blah, but there's talented people so it's not so bad blah blah tankies blah blah. You've heard this before blah blah blah, and before anyone asks I don't care for the reboot, and the Thomas fans who still whine about it need to shut the fuck up and just watch the classic series till their peanut brains start melting. FAQ number 6. Where do you get the soundtrack for Engines of 8? A lot of the soundtrack comes from APM and KPM music, mostly the classic 40s and 50s Hollywood cinematic production music, Capitol High-Q Records, and sometimes I get a little devious and source some music from obscure films. FAQ number 7. Are you going to make every episode? No. I have no plans to make every episode for reasons I'll get into more in depth later, but it mostly boils down to being too time consuming, often being stagnant in production for a good while. editing PNGs of model trains onto different backgrounds for a runtime of 5 to 7 minutes and making it look realistic as possible isn't as easy as it sounds, which is why it's probably a good idea to have a team. And finally, FAQ number 8. Why are you ending Engines of 8? Well, you've sat through a ton of nonsense up to this point. So I'll explain in Engines of 8 terms. I don't want to pull the 8 Maples train anymore. Okay, seriously, before I go in depth, I need to make something clear. CapCut's ban in the US did not kill Engines of 8 episode production. I don't live there, and CapCut ended up getting unbanned anyways. And no, the fanbase is not the reason why I'm ending Engines of 8 either. This may sound hard to believe, but I don't hate you guys. Well, except this guy. To simply put it, ending the series is purely my decision. I've been making this ARG for 3 years, and my interest in it has continuously waned over time. I made Engines of 8 as a parody shed post of Thomas RGS, like the Thomas Unreleased Archive. Everything you've seen of Engines of 8 is either a reference or a parody of something, all while mocking the tropes of analog horror, a genre that I'm not really into, so of course I was bound to get bored of it eventually. I regret allowing production on more episodes since they started to lose their novelty when we kept doing it so often. It's less of a rare find and more like an obligation. It felt like I was spoiling the fans, and making episodes became irritating, at least for me. It got to a point where my heart wasn't really in it, pressure kind of got to me, and I either just didn't give a shit or kept trying to surpass audience expectations, which has led to experiments like Tom's Train Trouble and Bacon and Eddie. Engines of 8 just started to clog up my mind, and it got to a point where I had to step away from it for a while due to it affecting me mentally. A few weeks earlier I'd get caught into some drama behind the scenes that I won't get into but is now resolved, and I just can't look at the series the same way anymore. It feels like me continuing Engines of 8 is starting to affect my friends and other people. Honestly, I'm tired of it, and I think my team is getting tired of it too. I don't really have anything else to say that I haven't been saying this entire time. My friends who helped me on this series have suggested I look at it in a different light, see it as more than just a joke. I just can't. I guess other people have their own perception of Engines of 8, but as the creator, I can only see it for what it is, a joke. A joke that was only funny for me in my eyes. I think what I've been missing with the series was its simplicity and ambiguity. It used to be simple, shitty quality screen cups of model trains, and the vague origins and descriptions gave it an ambiguous nature. That was a perfect formula, but I lost that. Engines of 8 has been such a polarizing, complicated series for me, always leaving me confused on what to do with it when really, I could just end it here and move on. Nobody's holding me at gunpoint or anything. But part of me says to keep going. You can make it better, just shape it into something else instead of a joke, try to make up a deep story, but I don't know, that's just not what Engines of 8 is about. I've been making Engines of 8 for at least 3 years, and looking back on it I could have done so much better in so many ways, and despite it all, it's gained over 2,000 subscribers and 300,000 total views. And it both amazes me and scares me, almost undeserving in a way. But looking back at the past too much hurts my head. Just thinking about Engines of 8 had me going, this is what I've been doing with my life for 3 years? What have I done? But then I thought of a better question, what will I do now? Which leads me to a bonus question number 9. What's next? So, I've been rambling on about how much I don't like this series and that I'm going to end it. But not like this. So what can you expect this year? Well, for one, Woody Woodpecker will eventually fade out of Engines of 8. This was a tough decision for me to make, and it will sadden some of you to see him go, but this time, the plan is to continue videos as usual, and sort of go back to basics, nothing too extreme or too cheap, just basic surreal analog crap. As for episodes that were cancelled, those will be repurposed for the Monaco Collinson account ran by one of the team members to tie up loose ends, and eventually that account will be retired too. And while there won't be as many episodes on the main channel, there is one episode that I really want to finish. I can't end this series without making it series finale, can I? I'm currently in the process of rewriting the script and I'll eventually get to the technical stuff. I can't promise a release date, but just know that at best, it may come out early summer. And well, that's about it really. After Engines of 8 wraps up, I'll probably release some private stuff and lock up the Discord server, so if anyone's still in there, enjoy it while you still can. I want this to be the first and last ARG I make. My passion leans towards art, comics, and filmmaking, specifically stop motion. Guess I have my own ambitions I'd like to do, but before this long-ass video ends, I want to quickly say thank you to my team and fans for your continued support. And as for the fans, I don't want you to think that Engines of 8 ending means that you can't enjoy it anymore. Please continue to get creative making your own characters, series, or episodes. Just have fun doing fun things. That's all I've got to say tonight. I hope you guys can understand my reasons a little better. Remember to take care of yourself and that there are people who love you. So spend whatever time you got enjoying the simple things in life. They can go a long way. Goodbye for now.
You know, this whole journey reminds me of an Engines of 8 song.
Oh yeah? Which one?
Let me sing it for you. It goes like this.